Hey everyone, Brody here with our new channel, Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. I have a new copy of Halls of Hegra by Tompet Games. It's a solo-only game where you play as the commander currently in an abandoned mountain fortress as you command a group of Norwegian volunteers fighting numerically superior German forces in the early days of World War II. The siege is divided into 3 stages as events become more intense and the game tighter as you go on. The game uses worker placement, bag building, area control, and a tower defense mechanic. For me, the best way to teach this game is using the player aid, as on the back of the rule book, there is a great player aid. This visual will help visualize when steps are performed and within the 3 stages of the game. The game starts in the mobilization stage for the first 3 rounds or days, where you will prep for battle by preparing equipment, gaining new recruits to join your force, and plan supply routes for the upcoming siege. Each round is somewhat similar, but some things change when a certain stage moves on. Each round starts with the event phase, where you draw the top card from the event deck of your current phase. This card will list the weather, and you will place the marker of the matching type on the board. If it snows, you will increase the snow marker by 1, and it will limit your movement on the map when trying to go out on supply runs to gain more supplies. A cloudy day lets you move further, and a sunny day is the best where you can move the most. Each card will list in text an event, and then that event is performed. During this phase, it will list on the bottom of that card to take a number of doubt tokens from the reserve and add them to the recruit bag. You will look at the doubt track to know how many you will be adding. This track represents the confidence that the locals have in your ability to defend them. The doubt and the fear track are only used for days 1 through 3. Now, the more doubt makes it harder to recruit more defenders. You will then draw 1, 2, 3, or 4 discs from the recruit bag. You draw 1 at a time and can choose to stop at any time. A defender disc, which is any color minus the purple doubt color. Each of these types of defenders, when you draw these, you will place it on the recruitment area next to the recruit bag. If you draw a doubt disc, you will stop drawing discs. You will have to choose one of the drawn discs in the recruitment area to move to the ready area. If you have drawn 2 or 3 discs, you can decide to stop drawing discs and move all the recruited discs present there to the ready area. If your first disc is a doubt token, then you will be able to draw discs until you draw 1 defender, and you will at least gain that 1 defender that round, moving it to the ready area. Doubt tokens always get placed back into the bag, so they're always there. Each volunteer disc, the blue one, is then placed in the ready area, and they will let you add 1 supply to your supplies. Supplies will be important to move tired units to be ready again in future rounds. It's important to use the mobilization phase to set yourself up for later in the game. Try to minimize doubt tokens and get units onto the board. Next, in the morning phase, where you will move all defenders in your rest area to the ready area. This will not be done at the beginning of the game, but you can then spend your supplies or your morale to move defenders from that tired area to the ready area. The number of units that you can move per supply is listed on the supply track, and each morale that you lose moves up to 2 defenders. Then 1 or 2 defenders can be moved from the tired area to the rest area for free, as they will be available to use the next day. You will then move defenders from the ready area to the action spaces out on the main board. Each action space is identified by a Norwegian flag on its left side. It will also have a circle with the number of required defenders to activate its action. Some of these spaces will have a defender type shown with a 2 listed. This means that that type of defender counts as 2 other defenders. If a defender type is shown with an X, then that type cannot be used for that action. You can resolve the same action over and over again by placing enough defenders to activate it over and over again. If an action space is covered by a damage token, then you cannot use it until that space is repaired and the damage is removed. When you have placed all of your defenders that you wish onto the action spaces out on the board, you can then proceed to the day phase. In the day phase, you will resolve your actions where defenders are placed. And you will do this in the order listed on the number of the box that the actions are listed in. So here, the negotiate action lets you either lower the fear or the doubt marker by 1. And we talked about the doubt marker. So the fear track determines how many defenders are removed from the recruit bag at the end of the mobilization phase. You want it to be as low as possible. The open new supply route lets you take an unused group of delivery tokens from the reserve and place them out on the matching supply depots on the map. Now, you can take actions to send units out to retrieve those items. Each token is worth 2 supplies and 1 morale, plus the bonus listed on that token. You will have depots that will reward an extra supply. This one lets you remove a German unit. This one adds 1 missed token to the hit bag. The fire artillery action is possible in the first phase, but will be utilized more later in the game. However, you use this action to combat against German forces. You send out for a new supply run by moving the discs from that action space to the fortress area on the map. This is the starting space here, and it's connected to all spaces on the bottom row. There are several spaces on the board where future action spots can appear. I will explain how to do this when we get to the shoveling snow action, but if you have found the counter patrol card, and if you place a unit on it, you can remove a German patrol token from the map and place it back into the patrol bag. If the action is repaired, you can also reduce the suspicion marker by 2. The suspicion track represents how active the German forces are pursuing you. If at any time the marker is moved higher than level 6, you instead return it to level 3 and add a German patrol out on the map. Then you will move all your tokens doing supply runs. Each defender can move up to the number of spaces allowed by the weather. Spaces are connected with the dotted lines, and you will move to adjacent spots for each movement. If you move into a space with a German patrol or a German artillery present, you can do one of 3 things. First, stop your movement, and suspicion marker goes down by 1. You can sneak, you roll the 6-sided die and do a suspicion check. If the result is higher than your current suspicion level, then you continue your movement and increase the marker by 1. If the result is equal to or lower than the current suspicion level, then you return the defender to the reserve and 1 German patrol token to the patrol bag, and then reduce your suspicion by 2. Or you can fight, which is only available for soldier discs. Movement ends and the German patrol is placed back into the patrol bag, or the artillery is placed back on its track, and then you roll the die performing a suspicion check. A defender cannot end on a space as another defender except when on the fortress or on the supply depot. Each unit can carry a token and needs to bring that token back to the fortress, but now its movement is reduced by 1 when carrying it, except if you're the hunter. Then you can keep all of their movement with them. After all movement is done, if a unit is returned back to the fortress with a delivery token, move that unit to the tired area, gain 1 morale, increase your suspicion by 1, gain 2 supplies plus the special bonus shown on that token, and then remove that delivery token from the game. If you fail a suspicion roll while carrying a token, then it is removed from the game. The next section is the maintenance section. Here you can shovel snow. You will move the marker to the left 1 spot for each activation. If you move past the 1 space, then you will be able to move it back to the 3 space and then reveal the top snow card. These cards will either open up new action spaces out on the board or provide you with some useful items. New action spots have a designated spot somewhere out on the board. The rightmost spot always starts with a damage token placed on it. If it is an item, you will resolve the text and remove the card from the game. These actions can really help later in the game, so they can be worth unlocking. So pay attention to them. All right, as I played the game, I forgot to explain what the snow tiles do because I had the same questions when I was playing the game, so let me go over them real quick. If it is a tile that is a new location, then you will, of course, put the damage tile on the rightmost spot. The radio lets you add 1 hope card to the low morale deck. If you have the other one uncovered, then you get to add 2 cards to the low morale deck. The map room lets you look at the top 3 snow tiles and rearrange them to put back down. The other one is to move the snow marker over to the left twice. The gun number 2 gives you another gun. It'll appear broken with all the damaged tokens left on it, so you'll have to repair that before using it. The field telephone gives you +1 on each of your die rolls when you are attacking. The other spot lets you suppress 2 of the German units. The medicine cabinet lets you fully heal 1 patient. The other side lets you ignore the relapse this turn. The counter patrol lets you remove 1 of the German units on the board, and also lets you decrease your suspicion marker down 2. The steel plates will give you 2 miss tokens that you will add to the hit bag. The hidden tools lets you repair 1 damage tile, or you can add 1 miss token to the hit bag. The generator gives you +2 morale. Water gives you 1 supply plus 1 morale. And new supplies gives you +2 supplies. The repair action lets you remove the leftmost damage tile from any action space and place it back into the hit bag. Or you can flip over the leftmost jammed status tile on your chosen action space. Either or. The bolster action lets you take 1 miss tile from the reserve and put it into the hit bag, or increase the defense marker by 1. This will benefit you when the German forces are attacking you. The promote action requires both an officer and either a volunteer or a hunter, and you will swap the volunteer or the hunter with another soldier disc from the reserve. The radio action is unlocked with a snow card, and it will add 1 hope card to the low morale deck and is shuffled in there so it can get drawn out sometime during the game. If the right part action is unlocked, then you will add an additional hope card to the same deck before you shuffle. The map room action, also unlocked with a snow card, lets you look at the top 3 snow cards and then place them back onto the deck in any order that you would like. If the rightmost action is unlocked, then you will also move the snow marker 2 steps to the left. If at any time the morale marker would be moved higher than level 3, you instead add 1 hope card to the low morale deck, but if it is moved lower than level -3, then you instead lose 1 defender. Next is the infirmary, where if a player gets hit, they are placed here as a patient. A die is rolled after getting hit to determine the level of severity and how much damage is done to them. They are placed in the area matching the result of the die roll in one of the 3 beds, which each can only contain 1 patient at a time. Additional injured units are placed in the waiting room, and this can have any number of units waiting in there. The waiting room can also have stacked discs on the same level if that ever happens. The patients in beds can be treated with this action, and their disc will move up 1 spot, and when they reach the green plus spot at the top, they are healed and moved to the tired area. When rolling a die, a high roll of the die means that they will heal quicker than rolling a low number. So here you can treat 1 patient, moving it up 1 level. If you unlocked the medicine cabinet by shoveling snow, then you can fully treat 1 patient and move them to the tired area. If the rightmost action is repaired, then you can skip the first step in the recovery and relapse step, which is as follows. Step 1, you move all patients in the waiting room area down 1 level. If a patient moves further than level 1, then they are placed in the morgue. Step 2, move all patients in the beds up 1 level. Step 3, if there are any patients in the waiting area, then you may now move 1 patient into an empty bed. Lastly, morale is resolved every day. This section has no action spaces, but it has 5 steps that you will do in order. First, the morale modifiers. You will check and see if you have met any of the conditions shown. This will increase or reduce the marker, +1 or +2, according to the position of the doubt marker. -1 if the current day is marked red on the turn track, -1 if you have no supplies left, -1 if you have any number of defenders in the waiting area of the infirmary, -1 for each defender disc in the morgue, and -1 if there are any number of German infantry meeples in the red sector. This is for future phases. You will resolve the text shown at your current morale level and then return it to the level 0 after that. You might draw morale cards. The high morale cards will be helpful, while the low morale cards will add additional challenges. Each card has 3 sections, and you will apply the section according to the stage of the game that you are currently in. So like at the beginning of the game, it's the mobilization phase. So you do the action shown there. You will have a choice of cards, and you will apply their effects. Cards not chosen are placed back into the deck, and the ones that are applied are discarded from the game. Sometimes you might draw a hope or a despair card, and you will have to choose those cards and apply their effects no matter what. Next, you'll check to see if any of the surrender requirements have been met. For each requirement that is met, increase the surrender marker accordingly. If the marker reaches the skull and crossbones, then you lose the game immediately. You will have +1 if you have 3 or more defenders in the morgue, +1 if you have 4 or more defenders in the waiting area of the infirmary, and +1 if all 6 German artillery pieces are on the map. As the game progresses and you enter the siege phase, if you have fewer healthy defenders than the required number indicated on the surrender track, then you lose the game immediately. Lastly, you will check the turn track and see if there are any listed German symbols. For each, you will draw 1 German patrol token from the bag and place it onto the number on the map as the current stage in the game. You might be placing a patrol token on a spot with another one already present. That is okay. At the end of the 3rd round, a coup happens, and you will remove a number of your defenders from your recruit bag as the number shown on the marker of the fear track. The supply marker moves 1 space to the right, making it so 1 supply refreshes 3 units instead of 4. Then you can place a defender disc on each defensive position not covered by a damage tile. These defenders can be taken from the tired, rest, or ready area. And if you place 3 or 4 soldiers, you gain 1 or 2 morale accordingly. The mobilization board is flipped over to the first attack side, and the fear and doubt markers are removed from the game. The first attack stage continues with event cards marking the weather, resolving each event card text, drawing units from the recruit bag, and now you will add German infantry meeples and perform infantry attack. You will check the infantry number shown on the event card and add that many new German infantry meeples in the lowest available sector on the first attack board. The German infantry meeples are placed in the waiting area of Sector 1. If there are already 5 infantry meeples there, then you will continue adding them into the next sector. If all waiting areas are full, then you do not add any more. You then will perform the infantry attack. If you have no defenders in any of the defensive positions, you moved all unsuppressed German infantry meeples up 1 sector. If they are moved beyond the top sector, they are added to the charge box, and then the charge box is resolved. But if you do have your defense present, then you will roll dice starting with Sector 1 for each unsuppressed meeple present there. This will determine where the meeple moves and what it does, if anything. These meeples will be moved to the allocated boxes matching the results of your roll. These meeples have 2 states: suppressed, shown by laying them down. This means that they don't do anything this turn, or unsuppressed, standing up. They will potentially do something. Then at this time, all suppressed meeples are then stood back up. Then each action is performed where meeples were moved. You will then count the number of hits and subtract that number from your defensive level. If there is a higher hit value than your defense, you will take 1 hit. And for each hit that you will take your leftmost defender in your defensive position, and they become injured. When instructed to injure a defender, you will check the current event card, and it has a list of unit types, and you will injure the topmost unit if possible, going down the list. You will roll a die to see how badly hurt they got, and place them in the infirmary, either in a bed if open, or in the waiting area if beds are full. Increasing your defense will reduce casualties, so you should look for ways to improve it when possible. Move action will move those to the next sector. If a sector has 5 meeples there already, then they will keep moving forward to the next sector. This might continue till getting to the charge box. After all movement has been resolved, move all German infantry meeples still in a sector back to their waiting area. For each meeple in the charge box, you will injure the leftmost defender, placing them in the infirmary and rolling a die and discarding a German infantry meeple. If not possible to injure a defender, then move one defender from the tired area to the morgue area. You will then continue with the morning phase as usual, placing out your units, and then the day phase occurs with a couple new actions. Now you can fire at the Germans. Now, defenders placed in this action are not moved back to the tired area after resolving this action. They remain in their defensive positions. You will roll a 6-sided die for each defender. A 1 through 3 is a miss, but you suppress an infantry meeple within the range of the defender firing. You might need to roll your dice separate from each type of defender that you have. The range is shown on the side here. You are within range if it is in the level or higher than the icon matching the defender taking the action. If you roll a 4 through 6, it is a hit, and you will remove the German infantry meeple within that range of that defender, placing it back into the reserve. If you dig out the field telephone action, then you will get +1 on each die roll when you use the fire at the Germans action, including if you use the machine gun action. Also, if the right part is repaired, then you also suppress 2 units in any sector. Again, the fire artillery action, you choose one of 3 actions. The infantry sector, where for each gun sight icon shown, you may remove 2 infantry in any sector, with the remaining units in the same sector becoming suppressed. A die is rolled, and if lower than the hit criteria shown in the targeted sector, you must flip the rightmost revealed status tile on the gun that you used to the jam side. If the result is higher than the sector requirement, then there is no effect. If you choose the map row action, you choose one colored line on the map, and for each gun sight icon, you may remove either a patrol token or an artillery piece from that line. Patrol tokens are placed back into the patrol bag, and artillery pieces are placed back on their track. If you have a defender in the targeted space, then you will lose 1 morale. You will roll a die, and if the result is lower than the hit criteria shown on the line, you must flip over the rightmost revealed status tile on the gun that you use to the jam side. If the result is equal to or higher, then there is no effect. Lastly, the airfield. You may resolve one of 4 options. Each option cannot be resolved more than once per round. Gain 2 morale, add 2 miss tokens to the hit bag, reduce the surrender marker by 1, or choose one of the air tile stacks and move it to the reserve. Again, a die is rolled, its hit criteria is a 6, so in the result of a 1 through 5, you will jam your used gun. If a 6, then there is no effect. All other actions are the same, resolving them in the order shown. At the end of day 6, the retreat happens, and the supply marker is moved 1 step to the right, making the reactivate only 2 units per supply, and you will reduce your defense marker by 1. You will place 1 artillery piece on each space marked with an artillery symbol on the yellow row on the map. The first attack board is removed, and any German meeples are moved to Sector 1 on the main board now. Again, only 5 meeples allowed in each sector, so if you have more in that sector, they are pushed up. The status tile is placed on the machine gun action spot, and this action can now be used. Now you have Siege 1 and 2 stages left, and you will continue with most normal actions, but during the event phase, you will now add air tiles into the hit bag. You take the leftmost stack of air tiles from the board and you will add it to the hit bag. These represent aerial bombardments from the German forces. The tiles will have various effects, and when drawn, they will apply their effects. You will draw the number of tiles from the hit bag equal to the highest revealed number that's not covered by the artillery piece on its track. You will continue with adding infantry meeples and performing their attack as well. The morning phase is the same, and then the day phase is almost similar, except now you have the machine gun action and the reckless defense action for you. With the machine gun, it's available through days 7 through 11. It can be used if the gun is not jammed, and instead of using the fire at German action, one defense position can instead use the machine gun action. You can choose to spend a supply token to add a +2 to the die roll before you roll, but then you will roll the die, and a 1 through 3 is a miss, but 3 meeples are placed to their suppressed side. A 4 or higher is a hit, and you will remove 3 meeples within the range of that defender. Once you have resolved the machine gun action, you will then flip the tile to the jam side. You can assign a unit to be reckless defense, where you remove 2 German infantry units within range, but then your unit is immediately placed into the infirmary, and you roll a die to see how bad it got hurt. At the end of day 11, the last stand occurs, and you will draw the top last stand card and perform the card effects as normal after you have resolved the infantry attack. Check how many defenders are left in the defensive positions. If you have no defenders in these positions, then move all German infantry meeples 2 steps forward and then resolve any meeples in the charge box. If you have 1 or more defenders in the defensive positions, then move all German infantry 1 step forward and resolve any in the charge box. The game then ends at this time. You compare the number of healthy defenders that you have in the defensive positions and the tired, the rest, and the ready areas against the requirement on the surrender track. If you have at least that number of healthy defenders, you have survived the siege. If you have fewer defenders, then you have lost the game. Again, use the player aid to help you go through these phases and the stages of the game. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I will do my best to answer them here on my channel. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring to you videos like this one, so you know if these games are ones that you want to get to your own table.